Hey YouTubers, it's Valerie with Money Mindset Coach. Um, I kind of want to talk today about how much is enough and a new YouTube channel that I have found this week and that has totally fascinated me. But it got me to thinking about a lot of things. And it's just kind of a thought video. I think about a lot of things, and there is a poem that I want to read that I don't know if some of you have ever read this poem, but I'm going to read it. And I actually did another video just now, and I ended up trashing it. I ended up getting really emotional on one of the verses of this poem. It's called The House with Nobody in It by Joyce Kilmer. And Joyce Kilmer was a man. I didn't know that in the beginning. But the whole reason that I even found out about this poem was I'm a big Waltons fan, and I was watching, I think it's either in the first or second season of the Waltons, but there's a character called A.J. Covington that stays with the Waltons, but he ends up walking with John Boy by this old house that's just kind of been sitting vacant, and he starts reciting this poem. And when I heard that it was Joyce Kilmer, I started looking into it. I went to the library. I got the book of poems by Joyce Kilmer that had this poem in it, and it was just amazing. But the whole reason I'm even talking about that is this YouTube channel that I have found called Big Bank Z. And this guy, I don't know how long he's been doing this, but he goes into these abandoned homes. Nobody lives in them, and he films. And the one that I watched this morning was Kenny Rogers' mansion that was 15,000 square feet. He sold it, and he sold it to a Nigerian family, and they owned dermatology offices or something. But then it got abandoned. I don't know if they went back to Nigeria or what, but now it's just sitting vacant. And when you see this house, oh my gosh, I have never seen a master bedroom like that in my life. And I mean, I was in real estate for a long time. I worked for builders and I sold existing. So I've been in a lot of houses. Was I ever in a house like that? No. Mm-mm. But I've seen a lot of weird floor plans and stuff, but this house was amazing. But it got me to thinking about, why does anybody feel the need to live in a house that's 15,000 square feet? If you have children, how would you keep track of them? How would you know where they were? You can get lost as an adult in a house that big. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I think watching a child, I mean, my grandson is coming up on 2. I would be a nervous wreck with him in a house that big. I'd lose him. I wouldn't know where he was. He wouldn't know where I was. It's just crazy. And it's like, really, how many rooms does anybody need? You need a bedroom to sleep in. That's all you kind of do in your bedroom. It's just a place to sleep. A bedroom, that's what a bedroom is. you sleep. You need a bathroom so you can take a shower, take a bath, get ready for your day, and do whatever else you do in the bathroom. That's all you need. Now, I did understand why. If you have a house, a mansion that is 15 to 20,000 square feet, why there's a lot of bathrooms. You would kind of need a lot of bathrooms if you've got that kind of square footage. Who wants to walk a mile to find a bathroom? You'd have to have a lot of them. And in Donna Summer's house, I think she had 11. There were 11 bathrooms. But I don't understand. I just can't understand the mentality. I think, I'm sorry, but if I had a boatload of money, would I want a great big house like that? No. Uh-uh. Now, I would want a smaller house, great floor plan, nice finishes, nice cabinets in the kitchen, granite or quartz countertops. Yeah, it'd be nice, but it's not going to be that big. I don't want that big. 3 bathrooms would be fine with me. It's just kind of crazy, you know? But this my dog is barking at somebody. Oh, okay. Now this was written, I'm not sure when this poem was written, but I'm thinking it was back maybe at the turn of the century, something like that. So, and I think it was in England because there's some parts of it that sound English. But anyway, whenever I walk to Suffren, must have been a British town, sounds like it, along the Erie track, I go by a poor old farmhouse with its shingles broken and black. I suppose I've passed it 100 times, but I always stop for a minute and look at the house, the tragic house, the house with nobody in it. I have never seen a haunted house, but I hear there are such things, that they hold the talk of spirits, their mirth and sorrowings. I know this house isn't haunted, and I wish it were. I do. For it wouldn't be so lonely if it had a ghost or two. This house on the road to Suffren needs a dozen panes of glass, and somebody ought to weed the walk and take a scythe to the grass. So this was a long time ago, so I don't think there were lawnmowers. It needs new paint and shingles, and the vines should be trimmed and tied. But what it needs the most of all is some people living inside. If I had a lot of money, this part of it I really, really love. If I had a lot of money and all my debts were paid, I'd put a gang of men to work with brush and saw and spade. I'd buy that place and fix it up the way it used to be. And I'd find some people who wanted a home and give it to them free. I love that. I love that. Now, a new house, and this really spoke to me because I worked for builders for a long time. So he talks about a new house. He said, now a new house standing empty with staring window and door looks idle perhaps and foolish, like a hat on its block in the store. But there's nothing meaningful about it. It cannot be sad and lone, for the lack of something within it is that it has never known. So true. But a house that has done what a house should do. This is where it gets me. A house that has sheltered life, that has put its loving wooden arms around a man and his wife. A house that has echoed a baby's laugh and held up his stumbling feet. Its saddest sight when it's left alone, that ever your eyes could meet. So whenever I go to Saffron along the Erie track, I never go by the empty house without stopping and looking back. Yet it hurts me to look at the crumbling roof and the shutters fallen apart. Ooh. Okay. Ooh, I almost lost it. For I can't help thinking the poor old house is a house with a broken heart. Oh my gosh. I mean, I know houses aren't alive, but I have always gotten myself attached to places and yeah, I get attached to things, but I get attached to people too. But when I think of places, I think of houses that I've lived in. And the house that my grandparents lived in, my great-grandfather bought the house. There's the very first video that I did, I think I talked about this house, but it was a 3,500 square foot Victorian, and my great-grandfather bought it. I always thought it was built in 1898 and he bought it in 1900, but I'm not sure on that. But the house was in our family until 1970, so it was in our house, in our family for a long time. And my grandmother grew up in that house. My mother grew up in that house. And then me and my two brothers got to live in that house for 4.5 years. My dad was expecting a job transfer that was going to take 6 months, and it ended up happening 4.5 years later. So we got to live with my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad, for 4.5 years instead of 6 months. And it was the best 4.5 years. I was 3 when we moved in, and I was 7 when we moved out. And I was sad. I was sad when they sold that house. I loved that house. And actually, a year ago, I went up to Chicago and I got to see that house again after 30 years. I hadn't seen it in a long time. And it sold back in 2005 for $250,000. But I really didn't like what the guy did that bought it. He split it up into apartments. And the backyard was gone. It turned into a parking lot. I hated what he did. And then he sold it, and a really nice family moved in. And it's been in foreclosure a couple times. And so in that poem where the guy talks about, Joyce Kilmer talks about, if he had the money, that he would buy that house, fix it up. Oh my gosh. If that house ever came up for sale again, that would be a house that I would want to buy. I would want to go in on it with my sister and my cousin who lives up there. It would be amazing to have that house back in the family. I would love that. But that's a very special house to me. And it's hard. I mean, the house that I sold before I moved here, it was so hard the last time I drove away from that house. And I knew that I wasn't coming back. That was really, really hard. I get attached to the houses that I live in. Not so much the apartments that I've lived in. No, apartments don't do it for me, but The houses that I've lived in, especially those as an adult that I've owned myself, I got attached. But the thing is you have to think about how much is enough, how much square footage is enough, how many bedrooms is enough, how many bathrooms, how much of everything. How many clothes do you need? I tell you that 1,500 square foot closet that was in Donna Summer's house. How many clothes would you have to fill that up? And how long would it take? How could you wear everything? You couldn't. You couldn't wear everything. It would take you years with how big. It looked to me, all the shelves and everything. You can go to that video, Big Bang Z, on YouTube. Just search for Donna Summer, her mansion. You can see it, 20,000 square feet. But I'm like, I don't know. I just can't fathom living in that big of a property. Who needs that? Because that if you had a pool, you'd have a pool guy, you'd have a gardener, you'd have a groundskeeper, you would probably have a maid who just lived there and took care of the house. You'd have to pay all these people. I had a rule when it came to the houses that I lived in. I would consider a house too big if it was something that I could not take care of myself. Because I don't pay other people to take care of my stuff because it's my stuff. I don't do that. I take care of my own stuff. And I enjoy taking care of my own stuff. Totally. But speaking of my stuff, I always talk about what I'm wearing. And this is something that I have a whole video on Nadine West, that clothing subscription thing that comes every month. Okay, this is one of the tops. This isn't. This is just a tank top, but I use it because I don't like how far this comes down, so I wear it underneath. But yeah, this is one of the tops that I got. And it's not that I don't mind the floral. I really don't. I actually kind of like the detail here because this is the only top that I have that has, a sleeve that kind of has this kind of detail. And I like detail. But I gotta tell you, if you could feel this material, it's very thin. I can literally see through it. I can see my hand. I'm sorry, but it's poor quality. It doesn't look bad. I don't feel bad when I'm wearing it, but it's not good quality. Not at all. And, not everything that I got from Nadine West was bad, poor quality. But this, you can't really tell with the camera, but the color of it from being washed has already kind of faded a little bit. And, crummy material is going to do that. Good material will keep looking good. So I think that this one might be gone. I don't know if I'm going to keep this. I wore it to work. I felt okay wearing it. I mean, a lot of times when you're wearing clothes, it depends. How do you feel when you're wearing it? Do you like it? Do you feel good wearing it? Is it comfortable? There's a lot of different things that go into it. When it comes to clothes, I basically am a person who I kind of wear what I like. Yeah, I know that there's different trends and stuff, and things change. Some things go away, then other things come back, and they're popular again. I tend to be somebody who just wears what I like. I'm not really worried about anybody else liking what I'm wearing. I have to like what I'm wearing. Me. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I have to like what I'm wearing. I have to feel good wearing it. That's it. That's all. I used to tell people at the winery, you either like the taste of the wine or you don't. It doesn't really matter how much it cost. Does it taste good? Yeah, it's not that hard. So it can be very, very simple. And so, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking about what's enough, what's too much, and how much is enough for you. I know what is enough for me. And it's a very, very good feeling to know that because I am content because I know how much is enough and that I have enough. So, anyway, that is all for now. And I got to tell you, when I read that, when I read that poem, the second video, I didn't get near as emotional as I did the first time. I did better because I hadn't read it in a long time, and that poem gets to me every time. So anyway, like I say every time, if you like this video, if you find this content valuable, give it a thumbs up. I so appreciate that. Subscribe if you would like to. It it changes the algorithm when that happens, and I don't even know how algorithms happen, but it gets the video out there for more people to see, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So I am enjoying doing this. I love talking to you about whatever seems to be on my mind, and till next time, use it up, wear it out, make it do without. Bye.